Plus, we just use a regular household iron. There was no need for an Easypress. Hello, daydreamers. This is Catalina from daydreamingtoreality.com, and today we are going to be making some t-shirts with your Cricut machine. Today's tutorial is going to be very complete because I am going to cover everything you have to do in Cricut Design Space, the cutting process, and then for pressing, we are going to be using the Easypress and also a regular household iron. I know not all of you have the money to buy an Easypress tool, but if you don't have one, I'm also going to have the instructions and tips to using a regular household iron. Are you ready? Let's go and see all of the materials you need. Whether you're using a regular household iron or an Easypress, these are the accessories and materials you are going to need to make t-shirts. First, you need a cutting machine. I am using my Cricut Maker, but you can also use a Cricut Explorer, whatever you have on hand. In this case, I'm going to use my Cricut Maker. You also need heat transfer vinyl or iron-on, which is the type of material that you use when working with t-shirts. I am going to be using white today. You also need the fine point blade, a weeder to remove negative cuts, and a light grip mat, this one over here. You can also use a green mat, it really doesn't matter. I prefer a light grip mat, the blue one, when I'm using heat transfer vinyl, the one that is kind of light. But if you're using glitter iron-on, I prefer using a green mat. To put our vinyl on top of our mat, I really like using the brayer. This is one of my favorite tools to use with the Cricut. Or if you don't have a brayer, you can also use a scraper. If you're planning on using a regular household iron, you're going to need the t-shirt. You also need, of course, the design that you cut with heat transfer vinyl. You are going to use some parchment paper to protect your shirt. And you're also going to need a towel to help pressing the shirt. If you're planning on using an Easypress, you are going to need the t-shirt, right? A design made out of heat transfer vinyl that we're just going to cut in a second. A pressing mat. Now listen to me. The first time I bought the Easypress, I didn't get the Easypress mat. And I gotta tell you that the Easypress mat is more important than the Easypress, because with an iron, you can get perfect results even if you're using just the Easypress mat. If you don't have the Easypress mat, use a towel. Please don't skip the Easypress mat or the towel, trust me. Before we cut our design, we need to place it on the canvas area in Cricut Design Space. If you want to follow along, you can go to the tutorial I wrote about making t-shirts with your Cricut Maker or Explorer. I have it right here, and these are the designs we're going to be making today. This one and this one. I don't have the same colors or sizes of these t-shirts, but it applies all of the instructions. So I have the files here and you can just download them. Okay, so you click here and then download SVG, and I'm going to save them on the desktop. Save. And I'm also going to click on save. Now I'm only going to cover the cutting process of this one because I just don't want to sound repetitive. And then we are going to be doing a transfer using the Easypress and an iron. Okay, so we are going to upload the file. Click on upload right here and then upload, browse. And mine is on the desktop. So I have it here, Mom Life, hashtag the best life. And I'm going to click on save. Now select it here and insert images. Perfect. Since I'm only going to be using this in one layer, I am going to select all of these layers here just by clicking on the file, and then I'm gonna click on weld. Now everything is on one single layer and I don't have to worry about it. Now it's time for us to resize our project. It is very important that you cut the right size. You don't want to go to your t-shirt and see that your project doesn't fit. You can either measure on your t-shirt, or something that I really liked are templates. Now here I can just use the kind of project I'm gonna transfer my project to. In this case, it's just going to be a classic t-shirt. And this is just for reference. You're not gonna cut the template. Now I'm going to be using a woman short sleeve, and the size is medium, I believe. Perfect. Now here I am going to resize my file so I sort of have an idea of how big I want it. Now, you also have to take into consideration the size of your Cricut mat. So I am only using a 12 by 12, so I am going to limit the width of my design to 11.5. And there we have it. That looks good to me, right? You can also, if you want to change your template color, like my design is going to be white, just to see better. And then you can also change the color of the template. You step on this little template preview and then change the color for black, because that's the color of my t-shirt. That looks pretty good to me. What do you think? I think it's awesome. Now, when we have all of our design ready to go, we're gonna click on Make It. And here is our design. Now, it is very important that if you're using heat transfer vinyl, to turn your mirror on. Very important. So just turn on mirror, and we're just gonna click on continue. Since I'm gonna be using my Cricut Maker, I can choose the material from Cricut Design Space. However, if you have a Cricut Explore machine, you can either choose vinyl from the Smart Set dial that is on the machine, or something that I really like to do is to put the Smart Set dial always on custom, and then you will always have these materials to choose from here. So just a little tip there if you have an Explore machine. Now, click on Everyday Iron On. I'm gonna leave the pressure right, and let's just go back to the video and let's cut our project. This is a roll, and this is kind of messy here, this little edge, and I'm going to cut just enough for my design, which is not a lot. Perfect. Now, something very important about Iron On as well is that it has a shiny side. Do you see the shiny side here? This shiny side is called the carrier sheet, and is what keeps the vinyl in place so you don't have a bunch of pieces like flying around when you cut it. And then on this side is the dull side, and this is the actual vinyl, okay? So we are going to cut on this side, not on the shiny side. So you always have to place the heat transfer vinyl pretty side or shiny side down. It is very important. So let's do it. My mat is super dirty, by the way. Now let's place it here. Perfect. And now with the brayer, you can work this so it sticks very well, like this. Remember, if you don't have a brayer, you can also use a scraper, okay? Just the brayer works wonderfully. I love this thing. Now we are going to cut our design. Are you ready? So let's open up the machine. Then let's feed it to the Cricut. And again, if you're not sure you mirrored your image, now is the time to double check. And I'm going to click on the flash and go button. The machine is done cutting, so I'm going to remove the cut from the mat. And now I'm going to remove the heat transfer vinyl. So the way I like to remove this is by just bending the mat and let gravity do the rest of its work, like this. And now it's time to weed. Every time you're going to weed something, sometimes you have very complex designs and sometimes you have very simple. Although this design is very simple, it is a little bit hard to weed because of that outline outside of the mom life. And anytime you're going to weed something and you're not sure about it, just open up your computer and see what are the things that need to be removed. I always like to start from the edge. And since this is like white vinyl, it's kind of like a little hard to see. A bright pad can really help you a lot as well. So I'm just gonna start from the outside and let's weed. Do you see this part here? You could have weeded this one instead of this one. So just make sure you go ahead and check out your design very well. I tell you this because the first time I cut this, when I wrote the tutorial a long time ago, I made this mistake. Here is the design that we just weeded, but I also, when you weren't watching, also did this one. This one is that we're gonna use a regular iron, and with this one we're gonna be using our Easypress. This is what we need to transfer our project: the Easypress, our t-shirt, the design, and the heat press mat. Now, when you're using an Easypress, it's very important that you know what temperature you need to set it, how long to set it for, and general instructions. If you go to the Cricut heat guide, you will have all the information you need. Select the Easypress you have. In this case, it's the Easypress 2, and I'm going to select everyday iron on because this is what I used. And the base material, this is 100% cotton. And I'm going to use the Cricut Easypress mat. Remember, if you don't have the Easypress mat, use a towel. Use it, please, just trust me. And then click on apply. And these are the information that we need to transfer our project. So it says to set Easypress to 315. So I'm gonna go to the temperature and it's already set to 315. And right now my Easypress is heating up. For starters, while this heats up, I'm going to kind of like align my t-shirt well. Cricut recommends that you pre-wash your t-shirt, and I did. I think it's best to wash it because sometimes when I don't pre-wash, I do notice the vinyl kind of, you know, like the t-shirt shrinks and the vinyl doesn't shrink with it, especially if you're using cotton materials plus the chemicals. However, I mean, if you sell the t-shirts, isn't that so weird to pre-wash the t-shirts? I've seen online people don't notice a difference, but if that's you, just go ahead and do a couple of projects with washing before you transfer, and other ones with brand new t-shirts. You know, the best way to see what works for you and what doesn't is to test. My Easypress is preheated. Now, I'm going to preheat my t-shirt for about 5 seconds. This is very important, especially if you live in an area where there is a lot of humidity. You don't want to have any humidity at all. So I'm gonna, and also to get kind of like rid of invasive wrinkles and something like that. And now we are going to find the middle of our t-shirt so our design is nice and centered. I like folding the t-shirt like this, like halfway. And then I just run it a little bit with the Easypress just to find the half point. And now I'm gonna place the design. So like the line is kind of like right here, also like with the center of this. Now with t-shirts, it's very important you know where to place it. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made is that I placed my design like over here in a couple of t-shirts I made for a friend of mine. It was so embarrassing. But I learned my lesson. So ideally, you just wouldn't do more than an inch, like from the collar. So let me just bring it down the mat a little bit longer. And let's isolate the seams. And to find the middle of your design, just bring the vinyl like from edge to edge and kind of like try to... Now we know that the middle of our design is like over here. And we're just going to align it with the middle of our t-shirt. It does. Make sure everything is aligned and just take your time on this step. You don't want to rush it. There's nothing worse than Cricut project. Okay, so we have it here and now we're gonna press 30 seconds on each side. This design is larger than the Easypress that I own, so I'm gonna do 30 seconds on this side and 30 seconds on this side. It really doesn't matter if they overlap a little bit. So I'm gonna do this side first. And now I'm gonna do it to this one. Perfect. Everything looks good. Now I'm gonna tilt my design and I'm going to press 15 seconds on each side, this one and this one. You have to press it on the back, kind of like to finish sealing that vinyl. Now I'm gonna tilt it, and for this type of iron-on, it says that you have to remove the vinyl while it's still warm to the touch. There are other types of vinyl like foil iron-on where you really need to pay attention the way you have to peel it, because that one is cold peeled, and if you peel it while it's still warm, then your vinyl is just gonna get all distorted and ugly. So when in doubt, just check the Cricut heat guide. Okay, this is warm enough. Now I'm gonna remove the carrier sheet. Do you see how it removes that? Like butter. It comes easily. If you didn't use the towel or the Easypress mat, you would have to do more passes. And that's our beautiful t-shirt. Oh my gosh, isn't that so pretty? Look at it. Let me get it closer to you so you can see how the vinyl looks. Now we are going to transfer this cute design on this baby shirt using a regular household iron. Some of the things that I don't like about an iron are that you really don't know about the temperature that you need exactly, right? So something that I usually use is that I either place the iron to the max or just like kind of like 2 notches down. So 6 max. So I just do like a little bit under 5. Each iron is different. Also, not all irons are the same. Some of them are more potent or some of them are not. So it's really a trial and error. My first projects using an iron sucked completely. However, if you want to make sure about the temperature, you can get an infrared thermometer And it's really good because then you can at least check some of the temperature. So go to the heat guide of Cricut and choose the Easypress tool. Even if we're gonna use an iron, we're just gonna check the temperature. And then the base material would be 100% cotton. And the Cricut Easypress mat, if you have it, then you can select that. But if not, just select a towel. And then here we're given like a rough estimate of the temperature we need to reach when checking this out. So it's 330 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm just gonna kind of like check the temperature here. And right now my iron is still heating up, but not going to be even. For the center, I'm just gonna try to reach 330 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you don't want to invest on that tool, that's okay. You don't need it. It's just to get a peace of mind. But what I do is that I just heat it up to the max temperature of the iron minus 2 notches. I'm going to place my baby shirt on top of the towel. The idea is to isolate any seams. You can also place the towel in between the t-shirt or underneath, however is easiest for you. My iron should be hot enough, and I'm going to just follow the steps that I did with the Easypress. I'm going to preheat for 5 seconds or so to get rid of any extra moisture or annoying wrinkles. And to find the center of my t-shirt, I'm going to move it like this, like in half or so. And then I'm gonna do a little press here. Some of the designs you can eyeball them too. I do that all the time. But if you're just getting started and gaining the experience, I recommend you just don't do it like that. And now I'm going to find the center of my vinyl too. So from edge to edge of the design, I'm gonna try to press a mark on the carrier sheet to find the center. There you go, I found the center. And now I just match it with the center of my baby shirt. My design is aligned enough. And now I'm going to press it. Now, since irons can be a little bit tricky sometimes, I like to protect my fabric with some parchment paper. And what I'm going to do is that I'm trying to press the iron on areas where I don't touch the seams, because the seams are going to create a lot of trouble. The way I like to transfer projects like this is that I like to divide my project in halves. Like half vertically, and then I press half vertically to the left, half vertically to the right, then half horizontally to the top, and then half horizontally to the bottom. And I don't do for the fully 30 seconds, but more like for 20. So let's start on the first half. Again, try to avoid any seams. Now I'm gonna move to the other half. And it's okay if they overlap a little bit. It's not a big deal. Now I'm gonna move horizontally to the top. And now I'm gonna go to the bottom. I'm gonna turn my shirt and seal it completely. And I'm going to press, in this case, I'm just gonna do 15 seconds on this side and then 15 seconds on this side. And we're done. Do you think it's gonna work? I think so. I've done this so many times, you have no idea. I'm just gonna wait till it's warm to the touch. It's still quite hot. Let's make this faster. And this is warming up. Now let's remove the carrier sheet. Oh, do you see how it comes out perfectly? And this is just a regular household iron. Oh, isn't that so pretty? Look at that. You have to admit, it's amazing. Plus, we just use a regular household iron. There was no need for an Easypress. Okay, you guys, so what did you think about the projects we made today? First, we made this awesome, fun t-shirt using an Easypress too. Should I put it on? I think so. Let's see how it looks. What do you think? Doesn't it look so pretty? And then we also made this cute little baby shirt using a regular household iron. And you saw when you follow my tips, we didn't have to do extra pressing. The vinyl looks just fine. If you really want to make t-shirts, you can get started today. If you enjoy making them a lot, then you can make the little investment of the Easypress, which I also have a nice review if you want to check it out. And in the review, I didn't have the heat press mat. So I don't know how it worked, but trust me, you really need the heat mat or a towel when you're pressing vinyl. The quality of your projects also depend on the care you give on them, right? So in the Cricut heat guide that I mentioned before, you'll find all the care that you should have to your garment, but essentially is to wait 24 hours before the first wash. You want all this heat transfer vinyl to bond very well before you wash it. Also, don't use bleach. And when you wash it in your machine, turn it upside down and tumble dry. I mean, that's it. Also, kind of like the type of garment you have, you want to take the precautions you would with that type of clothing. I don't have an issue, honestly. Whatever I cannot put on the dryer, it just needs to go. But I always wash things normally. However, make sure you go back to the heat guide. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!